So, here we are again with yet another webcam video. And for this one, we're doing a top 5 for Battlefield 6. A top 5 hopes for the game, since it's coming in 2021, fall, so might as well make a video talking about it with a good friend who also happens to be a fan of Battlefield as well. Him being the guy here featuring. Would you like to introduce yourself?
So, how's it going, troops? My name is Jordan. I go by on YouTube as jordanxbrookes, and as my friend Michi has said, I am a huge fan of Battlefield. I've loved it since Bad Company 2, and we're going to be discussing today our top 5 hopes, our top 5 wants of what we want from Battlefield 6, what we're hoping is going to come in the game, and it's going to be an interesting discussion. We've already discussed a few things pre this video, so it's going to be interesting to further discuss what we were talking about. Back to you.
Yeah, we spent basically an hour just talking about anything Battlefield or COD related, just anything with these series before this video. But now we're finally recording this video, and we're finally going to talk about the top 5, not just amongst ourselves. So, the first one that we have down is the setting, and the setting just referring to modern day, since it's pretty safe to say the next Battlefield game is going to be set during modern day. The specific year, who knows, but if I had to make a guess, I would say probably around similar times to Battlefield 4, so maybe something slightly near futuristic, or maybe something closer to Battlefield 3. It's obviously nobody knows right now, but that's just an idea. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, so I also am hoping that it's going to be modern setting, but I don't even think I need to hope. I think from the rumours and the current leaks that have gone around, I do think it is going to be a modern setting game. I remember Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3 especially, was a fantastic modern shooter. I think a lot of people are hoping this next Battlefield is going to be compared to Battlefield 3, and we're going to be discussing games like BF4 and BF3 a lot throughout this video. But modern setting is definitely something that has got to be with this next Battlefield game. No one is interested now with the past. I think after Battlefield 5 and the whole World War II setting, a lot of people weren't interested with the fact that the game didn't launch properly, it had issues. The setting kind of limited it in some ways. But I think compared to what with the current market with Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Warzone, I definitely think in order for Battlefield to make the big comeback and compete against Activision and Call of Duty, they've got to make their game modern day. There's no question about it. I'm not just saying it. You ask any other Battlefield YouTuber, they're saying the same thing. In order for it to compete, it has to be modern. If the setting is not modern, I mean, near future, like BF4, I guess you could say was modern-ish. I think that's also acceptable, but I think if it is, if it is not modern day, it's going to be a bit of a problem. This is Battlefield's final chance. They can't muck it up. If they do, I don't know what's going to happen with the franchise. I really don't. It's a breaking point, and EA and DICE have to fix it. They've got to it's going to be a make or break. They've got to fix it. So, fingers crossed it's a modern setting, but I definitely think from the rumours and leaks it is modern.
Yeah, and he pretty much took all the words out of my mouth. It's basically a need at this point for the series. And it's like, what other setting would they even do at this point? Because, we just got a World War I and World War II game back-to-back with the last 2 entries. So, like, from the perspective of a Battlefield fan, I just feel like it makes sense for the series to go back to modern days now, since it's been a minute since Battlefield was with a modern day. Not including Hardline, but even including that game, it's been a while. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but we'll see what they decide to do. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Battlefield 2143. I mean, they teased it, or at least it seems they teased it with Battlefield 4's last DLC. We were actually talking about that before this video when we started recording it. And who knows? Maybe that could be the next Battlefield. I doubt it. Being realistic, that's probably not going to be the case. It's probably going to be Battlefield 6 in modern day, or maybe it'll be Battlefield 10. 20, who knows? The series doesn't really seem to care about the order of numbers anymore, so why should we, right? So fuck it. Battlefield 10, 20,
Well, the last
15,000.
game technically didn't even have a number. It was just V for victory because of World War II. So yeah.
V
They clearly don't
for
care.
victorious. Victorious.
Victorious. But yeah, I think with Battlefield 4 at the end, with its final expansion, going a little bit off topic here, but we'll try and keep it relevant. With the final expansion or final stand, with all the futuristic weaponry, gadgets, and vehicles, it gave that indication that maybe a 2143 was going to happen. But I think the idea was dropped because I feel that DICE, they needed to do something a bit more different because the whole near future futuristic thing was getting a bit tiresome around about that time, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of futuristic shooters, Titanfall, Halo, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, so I feel that, you know, they had to bring it back to a bit more grounded, a bit more old school, and it's a setting that they wanted to do. They wanted to do World War One for a long time, and they got to do it, so kudos to them. But yeah, modern setting, it has to be. It's a make or break, but it's got to be.
Yeah, and I think we've said everything that there is to say for what we could speculate for a setting for the game right now. So, with that being said, let's just move on to number 2, a good UI. Now, I didn't play the last few Battlefield games, but before recording this, Jordan and I were talking about UIs, and he was saying that for Battlefield 1 and 5, the UIs in that game were total shit. I don't have enough of a memory of those games to give an opinion on that, but what I can say is that a good UI is important nonetheless, and by that I mean something simplistic and isn't overbearing, because less is more, simple is better, especially in the case of a UI, because I think back to a game like Black Ops 4, that UI was fucking hideous looking. It made the game a total turnoff. That alone turned me off from wanting to touch it. It just looked unappealing because of that. And something I gotta include into the UI section of this video for Battlefield 6 is don't do the bullshit Destiny cursor thing where instead of just selecting icons in the menu, you have to have a cursor where you select this, and then you press the button. Just have a regular menu that functions as normal, or as what normal once was.
I absolutely agree on this because I'm tired of the whole, here's a circle cursor, here's a few boxes, you can choose at this. I'm sick of the whole, like you say, the Destiny cursor thing, because it happened with Black Ops 4 with their menus, and I don't know why you've got all this unnecessary boxes that you can select with the circle cursor, and it makes absolutely no sense. And for me, when it comes to Battlefield UI, you've got to have something that sticks out to the crowd. And I'm going to go back on this one to Battlefield 3, because Battlefield 3 I feel had the last good UI, where it was so unique. You had some of the text which was angled, and depending on where you selected, it would move that angle a bit, so it felt very unique in your face. And you know, right now it's you know, with Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, you have these boxes, it's plain white text, and don't even get me started on the plain white text, because this was a big problem with Battlefield 5. It was a problem with Battlefield 1, but I think Battlefield 5 is where it got a bit too much, because from what I remember there, I didn't play Battlefield 5, but I have seen playthroughs of the war stories, and there's this one war story where it's in Russia, I think it is, some snowy environment, and the woman, I think it's a woman that's talking, she's speaking Russian, and of course, you know, a lot of people don't know Russian, so they'll have subtitles, but the subtitles are all in plain white, so you have white text on a white background. You cannot understand what she's saying because she's speaking a different language, and the whole everything has to be white thing is absolutely stupid. And I think right now it's getting to the point where they have to add some colour to it. I remember back in Battlefield 3 with the HUD, where if you killed someone, it would pop up in blue, like this is how, you know, this is how much XP you've got. This is, you know, when you've got a headshot, it will tell you. It'll give you your own little kill feed as to who you've killed, so it puts you in green, so you know who you killed and you know what you killed them with. For teammates, it was in blue, the enemies were in red, or like orangey red colour. Battlefield 3's HUD and UI had a lot more colour to it, had a lot more depth to it. And same with Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4, whilst it wasn't as colourful as such, like Battlefield 3, you still had a lot of clear indication of who your teammates are, you know, who killed who, where people are on the map. It just felt very, I don't know what to say. It felt very colourful, very clear. And I think right now, Battlefield has to go back to that old style.
In other words, give the next game a blue tint. Blue and orange, just like Battlefield 3. That was one of the best looks for the series. I love that aesthetic. So getting something like that again would be pretty dope, Dice. So if you would please bring that back, that would be oh so kind of you. And I mean, if you want to hit hard on the nostalgia boners, that's really all you got to do. It's not that difficult, guys. And give it the October 27th release date or something around that. 10-year anniversary for Battlefield 3. Oh, dude, you got it in the fucking bag. So yeah, that's pretty much it for number 2. That sums it up for the UIs and why it's important for them to be not shit. So moving on to number 3, free DLC, because with where the industry's at right now, this is pretty much a given. But it's still, I think it's still worth putting in here and talking about, because there definitely is a lot to say, such as how this probably means there's going to be a battle pass for the next Battlefield game, since that's such a popular thing now. And this is something else that we were talking about before recording this video, and that is the possibility of Firestorm being brought back, which was the Battle Royale mode that was added in for Battlefield 5. We were discussing how they could bring it back rebooted in a modern setting as a way to compete with Warzone. Like, even if the current iteration of Warzone and what they're most focused on is Black Ops Cold War's version of it, which I'm forgetting the name of, even then, if it was done right, it could potentially be a really good competitor, so long as it's actually well made like Warzone is. Because Warzone isn't perfect, but considering the game that we got from it, and considering the success of it, it's pretty safe to say that most people really like it. So if they could actually do something like that well, which I'm not saying they need to, because Battle Royale, we have enough of it as is. So if they didn't want to take the time to do this, I completely understand, because we really don't need it. But if they decided to, you know, the opportunity is there. But that's my take. How about you, Jordan?
Yeah, so speaking on free DLC, before we started recording this video, I was actually talking about how I would actually pay money, I would actually give money to EA if they ever did bring back Premium, because I felt that with Premium, you know, it was worth the price. I felt like the amount of content with the expansions, it was worth how much you paid. But I think going with how the trend is and how they've made DLC for Battlefield 5 free, I don't think we're going to be seeing Premium again anytime soon. So I do think we are going to be expecting to see free DLC updates at least, across however many months, maybe once every 2 months, once every 3 months. But I think free DLC is a given at this point. In regards to Firestorm, so this is something that I've thought about, because I know Firestorm, you know, it was announced it was going to come to Battlefield 5 at launch. It didn't, it got delayed, and then it eventually arrived. But it wasn't free to play, so people had to buy Battlefield 5 in order to play Firestorm, and even then Firestorm, it lacked certain things. It just felt like it was added in as an extra at the last minute, just because Battle Royale is popular, and of course EA and DICE want to jump on that bandwagon. However, if they brought back Firestorm with Battlefield 6, they made it free to play, and they've made it in the modern setting. So let's just say that this game is going to be modern setting. So they put Firestorm in the setting that it is with the main game. But Firestorm is free to play, and they put it as a way to compete against Warzone. I think that would be a very interesting competitive take from EA and DICE, because Warzone has proved to be quite popular. Obviously free to play, so it means anyone can install it, they can start playing it. I know friends of mine who despise Call of Duty, and you know they've downloaded and installed Warzone, and they've been having a blast with it. So I think if they could bring back Firestorm as a way to compete against Warzone, you know, I think it'd be quite interesting if they did. I mean, I don't think it's something that they should focus on, because I think at this point Battle Royale, for me at least, it's just become very tiring. I think, you know, every game's got Battle Royale now, and it's, you know, the hype train's starting to die down. So I don't think Firestorm is going to come back, but I think there is room for possibility that it might. and if they did, they will go full on ham against Activision and Call of Duty to compete against Warzone because they want to take the players from there. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and also, so long as they don't strip content from being there at launch and then save it for free DLC, so long as they don't pull that shit with something like Rush, because that wasn't in Battlefield 5, which is something we both actually found out before recording this video. Also, we did a lot of things before recording this video, if you guys couldn't tell. But
yeah, I was surprised that Rush was in Battlefield 5, because I know it was in Battlefield 1, even though it wasn't as good compared to previous games. But yeah, I feel like if they have to have all that base content there, I wouldn't be happy if they held some things off and put it later and claimed it as new content for free DLC when it was already in the game. But if it's something like, I don't know, the Capture the Flag mode, which I think with Battlefield 3 it came with a final expansion. I can't remember if it was in the base game of Battlefield 4, whether it came later on. I think it came later on as well. But something like that, if it's just like a mode like Capture the Flag, I don't mind if they take it back as long as the main core modes are there. So Conquest, Rush, Domination, Team Deathmatch, Squad Rush maybe. As long as you've got your core modes there, I think Grand Operations is going to come back. I think given how Operations was quite successful with Battlefield 1 and how Grand Operations was, I think it was pretty good with Battlefield 5, I'm not sure, but I do think Grand Operations is going to come back as a base mode, so to speak, for the game. So yeah, a message to EA and DICE, please don't make content and then keep it hidden until a later update. If you're going to add content, at least have everything at launch and make sure that the launch product is full of content, so it's got good maps, it's got enough weapons, it's got enough attachments and things like this that make the game fun. That's all I'm hoping for. But yeah, back to you.
Alright, Tom, back to me. So, yeah, that's pretty much what there is in terms of takes from us for free DLC. But speaking of maps, we are going to be moving on to number 4, which I have written down is for map variants. What do you have typed down again, Jordan, for number 4?
So yeah, maps and map design. That's what I've got on my little list.
Yeah, so under the same topic basically. So for me, something I think would be really cool, and maybe they do this, maybe they don't, depending on what they decide to do with the new next-gen technology with these new consoles, is map variants where there's dynamic cycles. So maybe, I don't know, they bring back, like, just off the top of my head, they maybe bring back a map from Battlefield 4, or no, Battlefield 3, maybe Operation Locker, or not Operation Locker, Operation Metro. Yeah, Metro, and maybe parts of the map, since, like, there is outside parts of the map, right? I'm not remembering correctly.
Yeah, there's outside. I mean, it all depends on the mode, but say for like Rush has outside parts before you can go inside the actual tunnels and train stations.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've played Battlefield 3, so my memory's a bit fuzzy of that map. But just a map like that, maybe one match you play, it's daytime, the next it's nighttime, or we get an outside map in the next Battlefield game, and that map, in one match it's raining, the next, maybe it's snowing, maybe it's a mix of both rain and snow. And in some matches, it's at day. Some matches, it's at night with that rain and snow. Whatever they decide to do, so long as they don't overdo it and the weather dynamics make sense. Since with it being in real time, it would have to make sense for the locations. So obviously, it's not going to be pouring rain in a desert map, for example. So they would have to strip it back maybe to just day and night versions. Or maybe just straight up variants similar to what they did with the map Macon in World at War, where they had a day variant and a night variant. Maybe they could do something like that, or maybe it's depending on the game mode that affects the weather, because that somehow affects the game modes themselves. I don't know, I'm just talking out of my ass here. But, there's a lot they could do with it, and, if you weren't a fan of certain maps, you could obviously block that out and only have certain versions selected. Like, even if it's constant random rotation within whatever server it is you're a part of. So that's what I have to say about map variants and all that. What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, so talking on the maps, I think for the base game when it comes to launch, it needs to have at least 10 to 12 maps. I say 10 to 12. Let's just stick with 10. So let's say 10 solid multiplayer maps, okay? So these maps, they've got to have good design. I think that's one of the things that Battlefield's been lacking. They've gone for such beauty and such spectacular wonder with their graphics and their design and their art that they've kind of lost how the maps are designed and how they play. I mean, for example, I was looking this up earlier, Faya Fortress, for anyone that remembers that in Battlefield 1. An absolute beauty of a map. The sunset is just amazing. A sunset in the desert. It's honestly one of the most beautiful looking maps ever. But I remember playing it and it didn't play as great as what it could have been. I think a lot of people were focused too much around inside and out of the castle rather than like all the other parts of the map. Most people were trying to get there by boat or by vehicle. So it didn't play as well as it probably could have done. But if we look at something like from Battlefield 3, such as like Grand Bazaar, which for those who long-time Battlefield fans, Grand Bazaar was one of the best maps in terms of close quarter gunplay gunfights, because it had that long alleyway, you had little close quarter bits inside and out, you've got all sorts of different routes. It was kind of in terms of comparison, it was kind of, you could kind of compare it to some COD maps because it had those lanes and it worked well, it flowed well, and it just goes to show that having the beauty of a map is not everything. It should be how the map plays, how it flows, the choke points and the action, and making sure that everyone's getting back into the fight and not having to spend about 10 years running across just to get to some place where everyone's gathering at. But having said that, Grand Bazaar, even now to this day, especially on PC at high graphics, it's or should I say high settings, it looks really good. So map design has to be a massive focus rather than focusing on making the maps look beautiful. I think they should do the design first and then add the art stuff after. That's what I think they should do. In terms of map variants, I'm a bit iffy on this because, as we were discussing, me and Michi were discussing before the video started, we were using the example of Operation Metro. We know what Operation Metro is. We know how it looks. We know how it plays. We've got that feeling on that nostalgia of Operation Metro. But what would happen if Operation Metro went from where it was to say it was snowing, or it was raining and it was heavy rain to the point where parts of the actual underground bit were flooded because of the heavy rainfall? Is that going to make people get that same sense, that same feeling of what that map was? And again, I'm a bit iffy when it comes to variants. I don't mind if it was a free add-on that came later. So, for example, how we had with World at War, you got Mac and Day and Mac and Night.
Yeah.
So, if they added something later where it's rather than being the same map, it's two separate maps, but they just, they added in later and people can play on it. Kind of like with at the moment with Nuketown 84 Holiday in Cold War. I prefer normal daytime Nuketown, but that's kind of my take on map variants. I'm a bit iffy when it comes to it because it all depends on whether it's going to ruin the potential of what a legendary map can become. A map that's going to be remembered for years to come. Because I can't imagine Sinai Desert or Operation Firestorm with rain. I don't think anyone can. So it wouldn't be the same. So yeah, that's my take on it. Back to you, Michi.
Alright, so with that being said, the fifth and final thing we have down has to do with weapons. So, weapon customization and design. So, obviously weapon customization has been a bit of a thing in Battlefield for a while now. Battlefield 4 had a decent amount of it, and obviously in recent years Call of Duty's really upgraded their systems with Gunsmith, as everyone knows. So, the question is, in Battlefield 6, 10, 5000, what are they going to do in order to compete? Because COD is their biggest competitor, so how are they going to top Gunsmith, what are they going to do? Are they going to have their own take on it, but call it something else to avoid copyright? Or are they going to have a completely different system altogether, which still manages to improve on everything that everyone loves about Warzone, but Warzone? Gunsmith, but somehow better, because I'm also thinking of fucking Warzone. Because something else I'm thinking of as well when it comes to topping their biggest competitor is, say, Ground War, because COD is now at 64 players with that mode, with Modern Warfare. So, taking that for example, how would they top that? Because there's rumors of the next Battlefield having up to 128 players with 64 versus 64. So, potentially that could turn out to be true, and that's how we could see that happen. Either way, I guess this isn't really about just weapon customization, just how does it compete with its biggest competitor. But back to weapon customization, I guess just what can they do to really flesh it out and to really improve upon what they did with Battlefield 4. So that's what I have to say. No definitive answers, mainly just questions without answers that have yet to be answered, probably will be by this upcoming October. Maybe November, I don't know, but that's my take on that. What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, first of all, I personally think it's going to come out in October, because if the next COD's coming out in November, EA and DICE are going to be on top of that. They want to be ahead of the game. So yeah. I think we can expect at least a late October time release, most likely. But back on weapon customization and gunplay, this is something where, again, I'm very nitpicky and specific when it comes to, because I'm hoping that we get that smooth responsiveness that Battlefield 3 offered with its gunplay, because everything from the sound design to the animations to the way the weapons will they look, the model, the texturing, everything was so smooth, everything looked really good and crisp, and I'm hoping that that's what we're going to get with the next Battlefield game. One thing I want to talk about also, goes into weapons as well as into other things, and that's animations, because I feel like with the current Battlefield games like BF1 and especially Battlefield 5, there's a lot of unnecessary animations. For example, getting into a tank, there's an animation to get into the tank, and I feel like it takes way too long, even though it makes it a bit more immersive. People got to remember this is a game; it's not a simulator. So, I think a lot of less unnecessary animations need to be put into it. And that goes with weapons as well, because I think there are some weapons that they have even though the animation's unique, it's a bit over the top, and it doesn't have to be over the top. It just has to be simple. Again, that's what I'm really hoping for. In terms of the customization, again, I'm very nitpicky on this, because it's kind of a double-edged sword for me, because I prefer the customization that Battlefield 3 offered, where you unlock a laser or a Piccadilly rail or an optic and things like that. But then we had Battlefield 4, where we had a load of different optics, a load of different lasers, a load of different barrels and stocks and all sorts. And having that depth of customization, I'm not too keen on, but I do think it has to be a necessary thing for this game to compete and do better than what Call of Duty is doing right now. Because Modern Warfare has kind of upped up its game now. It's kind of, Call of Duty's kind of grown up to the point where you can now have 5 different attachments, you can have different lasers, optics, barrels, stocks, body kits, and all sorts. And all of this customization, a lot of people, it's gotten a lot of people excited. A lot of people have become very interested in learning what's the pros, what's the cons, which is good, which is not, which looks better on what weapon. And I think, again, going back to Battlefield 4, in terms of anything that's near enough what Modern Warfare is offering, I want to say Cold War as well, but I think Modern Warfare does it a lot better. Battlefield 4 is the closest when it comes to customization, and with the last 2 Battlefield games being set in both World Wars, there's been a lack of attachments. I remember Battlefield 1 coming out, 3 weapon variants where you just had like an aperture sight on one and you had a bayonet on another. There wasn't too much to go on, and that drop in customization really took a toll on the player retention rate and the player interest. So with this next game, in terms of weapon customization, they've got to go the Battlefield 4 route, and they've got to have lots of different attachments. I don't know if they're going to be able to balance it all out properly, because I know that Battlefield 4 had some issues with some attachments, if I remember correctly, but they've got to go the Battlefield 4 route, with, just to compete with Modern Warfare, compete with Call of Duty and Top of One. So that's my take on weapon customization and gunplay.
Okay, now one thing that needs to be a given, since we're on the topic of customization, is if there's a battle pass, we need to be able to unlock character skins, okay? Fuck regular customization. I want regular characters that we can play as. Bring back the characters from Bad Company 2 and have them be unlockable in a battle pass system. I'm sure people really love that. Have them be playable in Firebreak. Why not?
Yeah, man, I know what you mean. I think in terms of a battle pass, I don't think it's too much of a far-fetched concept, because Fortnite has a battle pass and that's done really well. Given that Fortnite is free to play, but the battle pass has made Epic Games a lot of money. In regards to Activision and Call of Duty, they've gone the battle pass route as well. And again, even though I feel like the matchmaking in those games have played more towards doing well for the battle pass has still brought in a lot of revenue for Activision and for the devs. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that the next Battlefield game might just actually have a battle pass. In regards to the customization, I don't want things to be over the top. I don't mind having colourful camos and things like that and skins. Okay, maybe it's a bit over the top and not realistic like people want it to be. But the cosmetic stuff is not, as long as it's not too over the top, like having pink laser anime stuff or everything that Call of Duty is coming out with at the moment.
Hell yeah.
I'm not too fussed about. My main concern though is they do the Call of Duty route and they lock DLC weapons behind Battle Pass. I know that, I think once the Battle Pass is gone, you can get it via a challenge. But again, with seasons with Call of Duty, they last anywhere between a month and a half to 2 months, maybe even 2.5 months. So, I would not want to wait 2 months to 2.5 months just to be able to unlock a weapon if I did not buy the Battle Pass. So my main concern is that they put DLC weapons behind the Battle Pass, and that's something that's a little bit worrying. But if DICE and EA want to make this game the best Battlefield ever, they want to make it better than Battlefield 3, 2, 4, Bad Company 2, any other Battlefield, they've got to do everything by the gamers. They've got to make it the best it can possibly be. This is a life or death situation for the Battlefield franchise.
Yeah.
Because if this game flops as bad as Battlefield 5, I don't know how it can ever come back. The fact that every team at DICE, whether it be DICE LA, which I think is being renamed now, and DICE in Stockholm, the guys that are working behind Battlefront, they've stopped doing Battlefront 3, because I'm pretty sure that there was a Battlefront 3 in development, but they've stopped that. They've stopped any other game being made. They're putting all of their workforce towards this next Battlefield game, and it has to be successful. It has to do well. It has to not only compete with COD, it has to do better than COD. And if it doesn't, I don't know what's going to happen with this franchise. It's a worrying thing. The fact that Battlefield 5 took its toll out on the franchise so much, it's very worrying. But I am optimistic. I am hoping this next game is going to be good. I know I'm rabbiting on and I'm rambling, but again, I'm very passionate about this sort of thing. I've loved Battlefield. I've been playing it for about over 10 years now. Because my first one was Bad Company 2, and I'm really hoping we do get a solid Battlefield game, because I feel like Call of Duty right now needs a kick in the teeth. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if anyone's going to give it a kick in the teeth, it's Battlefield. So fingers crossed. Sounds horrible, I know, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I don't think a self-revive kit from Warzone's going to save Battlefield if they fuck up the next one.
Yeah, I don't think a stim shot's going to help either.
Yeah, unfortunately, characters in the Battle Pass will not save it if the game is trash. So,
yeah.
Make the game good, DICE. Better yet, just remaster Battlefield 3 and we'll be good.
Yeah, who are we kidding? Remaster Battlefield 3. There we go, video over.
Bring it back for 2021. 10-year anniversary, here we come! It's coming.
Hey, you never know. Battlefield 6, and you get a free copy of Battlefield 3 Remastered. 10-year anniversary.
Yo, if they do that, that's going to be so hype, but then it's like, why would we play the new Battlefield? We have Battlefield 3 now. We don't need it, and they're both modern.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it
sucks.
It's such a catch-22, because we want it, but at the same time they're not going to play the new one otherwise.
the nostalgia.
Unless maybe they chuck Battlefield 3 in with it, they just give a copy. and you play on the old servers or something. I've got no idea. But,
You get a by pre-ordering you get a free 360 copy.
Yeah, man. Hey, you can't beat that. What a good deal.
You get a 10-year-old game.
Anything is better than locking COD 4 Remastered behind a crap Call of Duty game, but that's just to do it so it can sell. So.
Listen, it's like Don Matrix said back in the day. We have a system for those who don't have internet. It's called Xbox 360. We're doing it now with Battlefield 3. We have a game. No, with Battlefield 6, we have a game for those who don't have a next-gen system. It's called Xbox 360. Play it on that.
Yeah, man. Oh, that was another PR disaster.
Oh, that was the best time for Microsoft.
Another big heads up as well. So any executives, any higher-ups at EA and at DICE, whatever you do not tell your consumer, your player base, your fan base, do not tell them, don't buy the game if you don't like it.
Yes, most important.
That is, I think, at the top of the priority list, because if you do that, what do you think's going to happen? Look at Battlefield 5. What do you think was going to happen? You think people were just going to laugh it off? No, you just insulted your fans.
Yeah. You do that.
And insult your fans, and there you go.
You do that, these pointing index fingers are going to become middle fingers from the entire fan base to this series. You don't want that, DICE and EA, nor do we. So do good.
I think if that PR stunt, if that ever happened again, I think the game would be dead before the game even launched. It would be dead before Arrival, never mind DOA.
That pretty much was Battlefield 5, come to think of it.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, there we go. Battlefield 5 Remastered confirmed.
Hey, except it's modern day. Hey.
Oh, man. Well, we can only hope for a good game. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we all want Battlefield's next title to be good. So hopefully it'll be good. And
the exciting part is also we can expect there to be a teaser or at least some sort of trailer, maybe a little teaser trailer in the next month or two. Because it was roughly, I think it was the 3rd of February back in 2011. That's when we got our first little teaser of what the next Battlefield was, which obviously turned out to be Battlefield 3. So, who knows, maybe this time next month we'll get our first teaser of Battlefield 6. And if we do, hell yeah, fuck yeah. I'm excited.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Let's do this! Wait, that's COD, never mind. Don't do this. Stop it!
Fucking do that.
No, it's COD's thing. Stop! No more.
Yeah, you got to do the Russian thing. I spotted a hostile jet, over. I spotted a hostile tank, over.
It is hostile. And,
I spotted a hostile sniper.
Exactly. So, with that being said, after having spent all this time rambling, that is everything. That is the top 5. That's pretty much everything we wanted to say. Jordan, do you have any final words before wrapping this up?
Yes, make sure to subscribe to jordanxbrookes on
Yes, I was going to say that. Check out his channel. Check it out. Give him some support.
And also, I want to say a massive thank you to my mate Michi for letting me come on, because I think it's always fun and good to collaborate with smaller channels and with other content creators, because there's a lot of competition out there in terms of the YouTube scene, but some of us, we've got to stick together, and Michi's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
We're passionate about games, we're passionate about Battlefield, Call of Duty, and we can only hope for the best. And I honestly, I really hope Battlefield 6 is going to be a great game, because I have high hopes from it. I don't really fancy playing Advanced Warfare 2 if Sledgehammer are making it, or Modern Warfare 2 if Infinity Ward are making it, because I don't really want to be going through the whole skill-based matchmaking thing, and I just want to enjoy and have a bit of fun playing, an FPS game, make content, and I think that's what a lot of YouTubers are struggling with at the moment. It's finding that passion, that fire, that interest, and I'm hoping not only for the YouTube scene like Battlefield as well, but just for the fan base, because I think having everyone jump ship to Call of Duty, to Warzone, I think it'd be so good and such a fresh take just to see everyone go from Warzone and jump back to Battlefield again. I've got high hopes for BF3. I was gonna say BF3 then. I've got hopes for BF6.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Oops. No, I've got high hopes for BF6, and whatever the next Battlefield game is, as long as it's modern, as long as it has a good UI and HUD, the free DLC is decent and they don't cut content out and put it in later. The map design is good, and maybe even throw in some map variants. And most importantly, the weapon customization and the gunplay is smooth, solid, crisp, and fun. That's all we want.
Yes.
All you need is those 5 things, and I believe that's what you'll get. You'll get a good, solid Battlefield game for the next 2 years, maybe even longer.
Yes,
So
what he
that's
said.
my final take on it.
Yes. Yes, and with that being said, it is time to wrap this up because that's the list. And we've done enough rambling as is for one video, so
Indeed.
now is a good time to end this shit. So, with that being said, make sure to check out his channel again, and before leaving, exiting out, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe for future content coming soon, as well as turn on the notification bell, set it to all notifications, you know, the usual social media
Yes,
shit.
definitely, guys. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe on Michi's channel. Make sure you click the notifications, the all bell. Make sure you definitely do that, because this guy is a legend.
Thank you. Appreciated. You as well.
No problem, friend.
Yeah, so that's it, and I'll see y'all next time. But until then, I'm out. Later.